Your Excellency, we want to thank you very much for being in our studio. And we recognize you've been with this democracy thing in Nigeria for a long time. Maybe I shouldn't say a long time for politicians. Since 1999. Yeah. Serving in the National Assembly and then being governor now going on 8 years. And so you know quite a bit about democracy and how we have fared in Nigeria. So I can shoot right away and get to the point and say, in your estimation, has it really brought the dividends that Nigeria would be looking for?
Well, let me thank you very much for the opportunity you've given me in your very beautiful studio.
Thank you very much.
And to be able to express my own views and thoughts about whether there are dividends since 1999 to date or not. Let me say that democracy to a typical African is alien. The way our societies were structured in Africa did not permit democratic views. Is top to down. Somebody becomes a leader in a society, and whatever he says goes in that society. Sure. And so our orientation, our background is not democratic. And so I would like to say that democracy to most Africans, if not all, is alien. Yes. But then the modern trend of things demands that the proper way to govern people is to allow them express themselves.
Absolutely.
And have opinion in the way they are governed. And so we have come to adapt this since Nigeria became independent when we started the parliamentary system. We moved from parliamentary to now presidential democracy. Mm. And I would like to say that we have tried, given our background that I've just mentioned here, background of non-democratic views allowed, I would say that we've done quite a bit. We have achieved a lot. Now, people contribute in a manner that they should be governed. People express their views without any hindrance. No person is taken to prison for expressing him or herself. For example, when we started in 1999, we're still using the popular NITA. Now, President Obasanjo then was able to privatize and open the market in communication. Now, even people who are on farms can easily communicate to people anywhere in the world. That, to me, is a serious dividend that we have gained. There are a lot of other, I'm just mentioning those ones. But the fact that we're also able to transit from one democratic experience to another. Yes. That is, Obasanjo won the election in 1999. He was able to transit to Yar'Adua to Goodluck Jonathan, and we're still going on strong. I believe that for the first time, we have come to accept that democracy is the best way of governing people, and that we must sustain it. In spite of all the challenges that we're facing, it is better for us to have a situation where I'll be able to express myself in the manner that I'm governed than one single individual or an individual and his family sit atop and determine everything that happened. Yes. And so I would say that we've achieved a lot. I don't want to, because of time, go into the dividends that have come. There are a lot of dividends that have come.
I have something that I like to call performance-driven democracy. In a way, we are kind of doing it now, because after 4 years, we check you to see if you performed well. But I'm looking at the type where it is set by law. So the law says if the guy is growing the economy, say upwards of 8%, let him continue, no elections needed. But when we come down from there, from whatever threshold we set, then there will be an election. So in fact, since the national conference is going on, I've suggested to some people in the conference, why don't you guys talk about this and see how people receive it? That you have a performance-driven system. You say, okay, we have our democracy, but if we meet this threshold, you continue. If not, we call an election.
It's okay if we set some parameters. Otherwise, that in itself is subjective.
Yes.
Who are the people who are going to determine whether this guy has performed? Where are they coming from?
There'll be a statistical view.
No, there's statistics. Those statistics are put together by human beings. Like I said, it goes back to the issue that I've mentioned.
Yeah.
If some other guys who are putting the parameters together and are the one who are going to determine that, how am I sure that they're not doing that based on where they come from and trying to push me out? So there are issues. Yeah. I agree totally with you that we should work strictly by the rules. That is why it is important when government talk about rule of law.
Yes.
If as a people who are disciplined and we accept what is in the Constitution, the way it's provided. You see, this argument about amendment of Constitution to me is neither here nor there. Because it's not about the Constitution. It's not about the letters in the Constitution. It's about the human beings.
Yes.
Are we ready to comply with the provisions of the Constitution? Most time, people given some level of power behave as if they are gods. And so it's difficult to control human beings who are not ready to comply with the provisions of the law.
Yes.
And so it is about law.
Yes.
It is whether Nigerians are ready to be disciplined enough to comply with the rule of law that is set in the grand norm, which is our own Constitution.
Yes.
And so we need to look at that.
Yes,
yes, the national conference is good. Let Nigerians express themselves. But then, you know, we shouldn't go there with the intention that the Constitution which we put together is not the best.
Yes.
Americans, what other countries or developed economies have been doing is that they will pick up the provisions in the Constitution and amend that provision, not a wholesale amendment of a Constitution. It doesn't make sense.
You're right.
It does not make sense because this has continued. Every now you have a conference with the intention of totally amending the Constitution. If we continue that way, we'll never have a Constitution that is sustainable. Until we decide that, yes, 1-2 provisions of the Constitution, we should touch them given the exigencies of time.
Yes.
And then we'll do that. But now people are saying that the whole Constitution of 1979, 1999, we should overhaul the entire Constitution. Yeah. This is what has been happening in Nigeria. You can't keep doing that every 2
No,
you can't keep doing that. Yeah. If we look at the constitutional history of our country, from the Lytton Constitution in 1922, moving to the Macpherson, up to the Republican Constitution, you realize that there have been so many changes that have distorted even the original intent of the founders of this country, who had patriotism at their background. Now everything is skewed. The amendment of the Constitution now is highly skewed by selfish interests. But those are forefathers.
But isn't that the case all the time? For example, say in the US, if I'm a Democrat, my views may be that what I want may be different from what the Republican wants. And I will try to amend the Constitution probably to suit.
You see, America is not even a good example because the level of patriotism of Americans, whether irrespective of whichever party they belong to, is not something that we can compare with what we are doing here.
That is true.
And so, but here, those people, you look at even the people who assume high offices.
Yes.
These are people who left offices with nothing.
Yes.
But the motivation now of every person coming into government is for me to start some work somewhere.
Absolutely.
And so those people, to some large extent, were more patriotic than we are now. Because now, when you win election, your people gravitate and say, look, this is our own time.
Yeah. You
must make sure that we get the best out of this. And so even in the amendment of the Constitution, it's skewed.
Yes.
And I give you an example. It's not that I'm opposed to anything.
Yes.
Look at the issue of resource control. Now, people want the Constitution amended so that they can have 100% control of their resources.
Yes.
That is selfish. And so we are now driven by selfish interests other than patriotic interests. And so it's complicating the matter when we continue to say that we should amend the Constitution wholesale. We should pick some provisions, look at them patriotically
the problem here,
and amend them.
The problem here, is it in the electoral process? I mean, you've been around, you know this as well as anybody in Nigeria, how the system works, the political system. So if we look at the way we elect our leaders, which in some cases we actually, quite frankly, select our leaders, as I'm sure you also know. Now, so if we look at that electoral process, is that what then produces the situation that we have that is then foisted upon us because of the way we choose our leadership?
You see, if we take the electoral process, you cannot isolate the electoral process from the general attitude of Nigerians. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
I don't understand. Which is what? The general attitude is
the general attitude of Nigeria is negative.
Okay.
We have a negative attitude. Okay. And so people place values on the things that are wrong. There's a very high premium placed on the wrong values.
Why is that, sir?
This is what I'm saying. This is because
the reason
our
for that?
society, the value system have so degenerated in our country that we no longer know which one is good or bad.
I wanted to say, is that not a derivative of how money is gotten by the government? Money just comes from nowhere. For example, we're talking about the resource control issue.
Yeah.
Because I've been for the fact that if you have oil underneath your ground, it is your oil, not the state's oil, not the community's oil. It's that one man or woman who has oil underneath their soil. Then we take it, we bring it out, the guy pays taxes, and the country uses it.
Yeah.
The way we get our money, we come to Abuja and we share. And so people don't know, they don't pay taxes, for real. So people don't care where the money comes from. And that I'm just wondering, in your opinion, could that be a reason for some of the attitudinal issues?
Yeah, to some large extent, because anything that you don't work for, you don't value it.
Yes.
And people don't work for it. There's no pains associated to it.
Yes.
And so they believe this is a free me. And so, it's going to come anyhow. I don't need to make any effort. So I agree with you totally that the manner that we've structured the way that money is being shared is why there's a lot of misbehavior and there's a lot of scrambling for the center. Yes. People believe that once I control the center, you
control everything.
You control everything.
Yeah. Excellency, how do we change it? You are a very key member of the PDP.
Yeah.
The People's Democratic Party, one of the top members. Are there differences in ideology between the PDP and the APC?